Again, we appreciate everybody coming here this morning. This is the 5th installment of Maker Mornings. So we started this journey a little over a year ago with the idea that Central Louisiana makes good stuff. That's Cleta's motto: we make good stuff. And whether you grow food, whether you manufacture tank cars, whether you paint, whether you teach, Central Louisiana is full of makers. And it's important that Central Louisiana celebrates who we are, our history of making, and really what makes us as a region unique. And so that's why we're here this morning. And that's why we do this quarterly so far. We're always open to do it more or even less if you'd like. But that's the goal of Maker Mornings. Now, this is a special Maker Mornings because we're launching really the first event, first program of Maker Mornings, and that's 100 Days of Making. So I'm not going to really go into explaining what 100 Days of Making is until later in the day. I've told a couple people already this morning, and I don't want to offend anybody, but if you're here for literal, you might be at the wrong place. 100 Days of Making is all about the journey. It's all about what you make of it. It's all about what comes out of 100 days. It's all about how you share the journey with others. And so we're going to offer you all the platform to do that. It's up to you to figure out what that means for you. So I know there's a few people in the room here this morning who already have some ideas and have really committed to making something for 100 days. And so before I kind of give some examples of what that might be, I'm going to let folks in the room have the opportunity for each person, and you'll have another opportunity at the end, for less than 30 seconds, if you have any commitments that you've made to yourself to make for 100 days, please, let's kick this morning off with sharing what you plan to make for 100 days. So do I have any volunteers? Oh, go ahead.
Hi, man. Most of you know I usually grow food and farm and stuff like that, but I'm learning how to spin on my spinning wheel. And so that's my goal, is fiber arts. Whether it's making yarn, sewing, learning how to dye stuff, that's what I'm doing for 100 days.
Great.
My name's David Crane, and what I do professionally is, by its very nature, I'm a chronic maker. So I already have more to do than I can do. So I had to be kind of careful in the selection process, and basically I'm going to be making a kit of parts that's at least 100 pieces in number, and it's going to be little clay tile, low-fire clay tiles that, once they're all made, will be a part of something else.
Anybody else?
Oh.
It's not going to be scary. I am a painter, sculptor, and I've been working on a body of work that's illuminated sculptures made from rice paper. I will be making an illuminated bear sculpture over the next 100 days. I don't know that it'll be finished, but I'll be working on it.
I'm Lois, and I'm a printer at Rise and Shine. I just came up with the idea to make a different poster every day for 100 days. So by the end of it, we'll have 100 posters of some kind of theme we'll figure out at some point.
Hi, I'm Linda. I make collages and jewelry, and I really want to make my collages, but I will not make 100. But I will do it for 100 days.
Great, thank you. Is anybody else? Maria?
My name's Maria. I'm starting my greenhouse plants now, and I pledge to have 100 plants, healthy plants, live plants, in 100 days.
Excellent. Is anybody else? And we'll have a chance later this morning to share what you all are going to make for 100 days. But, go ahead, Catherine.
Hi, I'm Katherine Pierce, director of the Art Museum, and my art making days have been sucked up by administration for many years. So I'm glad for this opportunity, and I'm going to make something for 100 days. I'm going to create something. I'm going to have some painting, something, at the end of the 100 days. And I've said it out loud in public.
I like it.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kenton. I like what she just said. I've been working on 3D design for jewelry and other such gadgetry as a hobby. And for the next 100 days, what I'm going to be working on is nothing, just like she is. I've got tons of projects that I tweak on from here to there, and the end result is it ain't ready. So what I have to do really is start from nothing and not take something and try to make it something else. So one creates from nothing, and that's where I am today. 100 days from now, I'll have something. I've got a little storefront for my jewelry now, and I need something else. So it's to get the ball rolling. Thanks.
So you can see the diversity in the room of those who are making something for 100 days. Again, whether you grow food, whether it's cloth, whether it's art, whether it's manufacturing. I know we're going to hear from a few manufacturers in the room today to talk about what they're going to make for 100 days. So let's think about the makers of the region, not only as, it can be a small artisan, it can be a manufacturer, it can be a farmer, it can run the gamut. So let's consider, the diversity of the makers of the region. And so I'm John Cottondine, I work at CLETA, and I still don't know what I'm going to do for 100 days. And I know I'm not alone in this room. So I'm sure some of you will come up with some ideas this morning as others share what they're going to do for 100 days. So if you look in the back there, where Mr. Ranson's standing, we have a box where with a registration card, you can put down your idea, you can put it into the box. There's also a couple more boxes in the lobby out there. So we're asking everybody in the room and everybody who's a maker in Central Louisiana, who's part of the tribe, to register and commit to something for 100 days. 100 days of making. Today's the launch. It actually starts February 1st. So you have a couple of weeks, too. So what's going to happen is when you register for 100 days of making, your name is going to be in a list. So there's no getting out of that list. All right? So let's make sure to commit to it and continue that commitment for 100 days. But first, I'm going to introduce, or let Gary introduce, the first presenter today.
So we're going to help each other and support each other and try to get through this 100 days and make it fun. I want to introduce y'all to Jason Engels. He has a company here in town called Engels Information Security, and he's got a pretty amazing thing he's working on.
Thanks, Gary. I think I have a remote. Can you guys hear me? Good morning, everybody. Well, happy Maker Day. I guess we've got another 100 days to make some stuff. We've been making things for a little while, and what we're fixing to show you is something that we hope to have in a place where people can use in 100 days. You're fixing to see something that a lot of people haven't seen, although this is on BBC News. We got asked to come out to LA and let them film this as part of their, they did a series on cyber crime and cybersecurity. My company was founded 5 years ago here in Alexandria, and what we do is we chase down hackers in Fortune 100 companies, and we figure out how they got in, and we kick them out and keep them out. That's fun. I've done it all over the country, spent a lot of time in the major cities, but it's also a little tiring. I'm actually only 25. It's pretty tiring. And not only that, but we're trying to create a scalable business. So we want to be able to bring people on board with our company, train them how to defend companies and prevent cyber attack rather than go clean up the mess. So we built a few tools. We're building this one, and this is something that we're going to be focusing on over the next 100 days. So I'll show you this video and then give you a little bit of an idea as to what it does. Now, I don't know if this is hooked up to the sound system. You're the man. This guy right over here knows what he's doing. Is our visualization of cyberspace.
This is not science fiction. This is our world, now, in the 21st century. Here in California, they're at the cutting edge of cybersecurity, using this virtual reality map of millions of computers to hunt hackers.
Those lines are all the connections that occurred in 24 hours between any of these computers and any other computer that's visualized.
Wow. The message, as you type on Facebook, Twitter, and Google, you never know who's watching.
Okay, so you don't want to see me talk for 15 minutes. You're already doing that. So what this is basically it allows you to take, does anybody know what Oculus Rift is? Has anybody heard of that? Oculus Rift is some gear that they've invented that allows you to see things that computers present to you based on how you move your head. Basically, it puts you in a new world. I mean, I brought it sitting right over there. That's why I was late this morning. But not a lot of people have gotten a chance to see it, but it is actual virtual reality. So it gives you the opportunity to, it fools your brain into thinking that you're somewhere else. It's pretty amazing. People stand in line for hours and hours to see this stuff at conventions and stuff. In fact, I sent 2 of my guys to Las Vegas to the CES conference last weekend. It was the largest conference in Vegas, 195,000 people. It took them from midnight until 5 a.m. to get checked in their hotel room. That's how many people there are in Vegas right now. So they have these things in it, and the lines never cease to be more than about 3 hours just to get a look at this stuff. Oculus has just released their date for retail sale, and they'll be available for purchase this summer. And the reason why we're after this 100 days of making is because, well, 100 days from now, we'll be getting close to summer, and we'll be able to ride the ability of these devices, the retail sale and availability of these devices so that people can use this technology to look at their own network or to pay us to look at their network and find bad guys. I'll have a demo, I think. I don't know, Gary, it depends on what the schedule's like after this, but I brought it with me, so if you want to have a look or if you want to talk about it later, just give me a holler. Thanks a lot.
Excellent, thank you. For those of you who have been to a few different Maker Mornings, again, this is our 5th one, and sometimes we have national speakers. Other times we have makers who are from here locally. But what's really special about the makers of our region is how much attention they bring nationally to Central Louisiana. And I'm really, really excited to present the next speaker, Ryan Howe from Rise and Shine Letterpress. Not only is he my neighbor, he's also a beekeeper. So he's really a jewel in Central Louisiana. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good morning. My name's Ryan, and I'm with Rise and Shine Letterpress. We're a printing company here in Alexandria. And actually, 2016 is our 10th year of making. And the way we express it is through the medium of letterpress printing. Letterpress is the original form of printing. It was invented by Johann Gutenberg over 500 years ago now, going on 600 years. But we're trying to do new things with it. And the way we express that is through really awesome stationery. And it's really nothing to talk about it. You really have to see it. So we created a video to show you a little bit of the background into our process and what making means to us. So I'm going to play that.
We feel very fortunate to have discovered letterpress printing. There aren't many things that can immerse you so completely, that can let you know you're doing exactly the right thing, no matter how difficult it can be, with the many challenges you'll face along the way. Letterpress printing is very much alive, and we're doing everything it takes to share it with as many people as we can. It's building on a 600-year history we're taking in new directions. We explore new techniques to bring letterpress into the present, to give graphic designers new, unique possibilities for creating their ideas. It's not just about ordering a nice set of prints. It's all the steps it took to get there. The techniques, the materials, the craftsmanship, the customer experience, even just the texture of the paper. It all adds up to the unmistakable feeling you get from holding a letterpress print. What letterpress gives you is a connection to something very real. You can tell it's letterpress because of the simplicity. The carefully inked spot colors, and of course, the impression you can see and feel. We bring the customer deeply into the process, and they play a critical part in the end result. We see it as a collaboration, even though the customer is often very far away. Thanks to online ordering, we have access to a huge customer base that supports our unique niche product. Without that, none of this would be possible. This mix of traditional techniques and new technology fascinates and inspires us. It's important to embrace the new while simultaneously respecting what's come before. That's what letterpress printing means to us, and that's why we make.
So that's a little background into what we do. But John asked me to answer the question, what was the question? What makes a maker? And my answer to that is having the courage to try something you don't necessarily know how to do. So, I mean, this video, I never made a video before, so this is my first attempt. I didn't know if it was going to work, but maybe it did. So that's what it means. So if you don't know that you can make something, you should really just do it and try, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you got to start. That's it.
So we're gonna introduce our final, well, not our final presenter for this morning, but before 8 a.m., our final presenter, Joey Bailey from JB Studios, which is right here in downtown, and he has a real short video to show kind of what he makes, and he's gonna share with us again what makes him a maker.
Hello, I'm Joey. My studio is right down half a block away. What we do, and we'll show the video, we do reproductions of art on canvas and on paper, but we also do restoration of old photos. One of the things that I would want to do during this 100 days is to be able to get pictures of Alexandria and come up with 100 different pictures to restore them. And I've got just a little video to show what we're doing. As you see, we also, when you bring your old photos to us, they never leave my facility. So you don't have to take them somewhere else and send them off or anything. So your valuable photos stay with me. They never leave my office. And then we do all our printing there too, either on canvas, we can do it on art paper, luster, different other mediums. But that's what we do. Yes? Yes, just like you saw right there. Those are some actually ones that I've still got the original photos that we just did recently Back probably in the 70s, we had one that a lady brought in a wallet that was the only picture she had of her mother, and it was faded out, and we was able to put color back into it and make it 8 by 10. Yes.
So if I needed posters made from collages, you can reproduce
Yes, ma'am.
the photos and the posters?
Yes, ma'am. We do art. We actually reproduce art. It's about 14 for Veretta at River Oaks. She's doing a show in Dallas or something, and she needed them, and was able to produce that for her on canvas. Yeah, but we can do it on any kind of, depending on post paper, whatever you wanted to. That's all I can say. That's that. Do what? What makes me a maker? Mainly because I'm trying to restore the old photos to bring back the memories of people as they were whenever they were younger or whatever. Restore also like downtown pictures or Alexandria pictures to help restore the downtown area and to bring back more stuff to like it used to be and not like the old pictures are now. Mm-hmm.
So, I think, Maker Mornings, it's a celebration of makers in the region. It's also an opportunity to inspire other makers. And so I think, and we feel strongly at CLETA that the inspiration comes from here, from Central Louisiana. We can always look around the country to see what's happening, but nothing can really happen unless it's a grassroots, community-based, local movement. And that's what this is. That's what the maker movement is here in Central Louisiana. So that's why we really appreciate and cherish the opportunity to share what makers in Central Louisiana are doing and what makes them a maker. So again, thank you all for taking the time to come up and share what you make and what makes you a maker. And, again, and we talk about this all the time, a lot of folks have an idea of what a maker is already in their head, and it's often the small artisan at the farmer's market, and they're definitely makers. And there's also, farmers. We don't often think of them, but they're makers, and I have a special place in my heart for the local food movement, and that's full of makers as well. But we also, what really makes Central Louisiana special is our manufacturing. We make good stuff. And so I know we have at least one manufacturer in the room that's going to come up and share what his company is committed to making for 100 days. Mr. Jim Waters, will you come up from AFCO Industries and explain what you're going to make and what makes you a maker?
Good morning. Jim Waters. I'm the CEO and chairman out at AFCO Industries. AFCO Industries was founded here in Alexandria in 1946 to manufacture building products. There was something of a housing boom as the troops were returning from World War II. So our manufacturing was in response to that increased demand. Today, we're in the same piece of ground out there where the company was founded. We're sitting on 18 acres out at the corner of Lee Street and Roy Street, 240,000 square feet of manufacturing space. Here we have about 210, 215 employees now, which, by the way, is up about 35 from last year. I was taking a fella on a plant tour, it was a few months back, and he said, "Jim, how many people do you have working here?" I said, "About half of them." But that's really not true, because one of the milestones in our history was in 2003 when the employees completed a buyout of their former owners. So today, AFCO Industries is 100% employee-owned. So they have a piece of the rock. They share in the revenue from AFCO. In fact, that's the only owners we have, are the employees. If you go into our manufacturing plant and see a guy or gal on a punch press, he or she is an owner. And that helped us survive the worst recession in our industries, in our building products industry in my lifetime, and I was born in 1943, so that's how bad a recession we have just been through and are still coming out of, by the way. The report card for our industry is housing starts. And normal demand is about 1.5 to 1.6 million housing starts a year. That's just the formation of new households, replacing houses that are destroyed for one reason or another. So 1.5 to 1.6 million. Those figures are given out monthly on an annualized basis. In 2007 or 8, we were at an annualized rate of about 2 million units. During the worst of this depression, which was in 2009 or 10, we hit a month where the annualized rate was about 540,000. So our industry was off 70% during this recession. Well, our employee owners are what brought us through that period. We never failed to make money during that period, and so we owe a lot to those employees. Talk a little bit about what we intend to make in the next 100 days. We have, by the way, 3 other plants, one in Alabama, one in Mississippi, and one in southern Illinois. But let's talk about just this plant here. We're processing about 40,000 pounds of aluminum a day. So in the next 100 days, we'll be processing about 4 million pounds of aluminum out there at the corner of Lee and Roy. Pardon me. That, by the way, comes in and goes out on trucks. So truckers like us, because that's about 200 truckloads that are either coming in or going back out. We don't consume any of that aluminum. It goes out in the form of finished products or production scrap. So 4 million pounds in, 4 million pounds back out, 200 truckloads. We'll take about 60% of that 4 million pounds and make building products like we have all of our life. In that building products category, we'll produce about 25,000 load-bearing aluminum porch columns. We'll produce about 100,000 lineal feet of aluminum handrails. It mostly goes on patios, decks, apartment buildings, even high-rise balconies, and so forth. So that's what we'll be doing in the next 100 days with about 60% of that aluminum. The other 40% goes into the industrial side of their business, where we're making components for other manufacturers. And you may remember the commercial, I think it was BASF on TV a while back, said we don't make the products, we make the products better. Well, that's kind of what we do with 40% of our production. We're making components for other manufacturers. For example, we make the aluminum components for Ferrara fire trucks. So we don't make fire trucks, but we make components for fire trucks, and we make fire trucks better. We make parts for Philips Lighting that makes the light fixtures. We make aluminum components for Hunter Douglas, the window covering people. Truck trailers, on and on and on. A lot of names that would be real familiar to you. We are not only making specific products in the building industry, but we reach out into a lot of other industries. How much time do you want to give me here? I like this term, making things. We have something specific that we can put our hands on. I think being a doctor or a lawyer or a banker, You know, those are honorable professions, I suppose. But we make things, and we've got about 2,000 dealers and distributors around the country, from Seattle to Miami, and I can go into a home center, a lumber yard, whatever, see our building products, and it says AFCO Industries, Alexandria, Louisiana. I can put my hands on it and say, I made that.
And, you know, I think for our next press release, that will be the headline. You know, I suppose those are good professions. But yeah, so, you know, we're here because we're makers. I know that there are going to be hopefully a few other manufacturers who come on in. And so when they do, we'll give them the opportunity to really share what 100 days of making means to them and what they plan to make for 100 days, because we think it's really important to bring together the manufacturers as part of the maker community. I know sometimes we don't think of them as integral to the maker community, but they're really the centerpiece of Central Louisiana's maker economy. So it's really special to have them here represented. But I want to move on to 100 days of making. So I know we've been talking about it quite a bit for a few weeks. We came up with this idea, and I think we presented it at the last Maker Morning installment. So you've heard some of the ideas today. Again, this is not about what we tell you the rules are for what you make for 100 days. It doesn't matter if you want to write a poem and you write one line every day for 100 days. It doesn't matter if you want to plant 100 seeds. It doesn't matter if you want to make 100 tank cars. This is an opportunity for you to determine what makes you a maker, and to spend 100 days to really consider that journey and that process. And in doing so, we're asking you, and this is really important to us, we're asking you to share that journey with the maker community of Central Louisiana. We're going to give you the platform to share that community. We're going to give you an Instagram page to post to. We're going to give you a Facebook page to share. We're also going to give you an opportunity at the end to come together and share what you made, what you committed to making, and what your final product or products were after those 100 days. But in the meantime, before I do that, Gary, do we have some manufacturers?
Joe McKay is here to talk about what he's been doing.
All right. Mr. McKay?
Yes. Some in the crowd know if you give me a microphone, it's serious, but Leanne, you won't tell any tales, will you? I'm Joe McKay. I'm the vice president of the I work for Royal Martin Lumber Company. I'm the vice president of their plywood business unit. 100 days of manufacturing. I did a little bit of math, and it startled me that over the next 100 days, we will use 4,440 truckloads of logs to make, 2,963,000 sheets of plywood. That surprised me. And if there's any plywood people in the math, please don't do the recovery on that. It's proprietary. Anything else? I think that's it. It's good to be here.
What makes you a maker? What makes you a little more?
Well, good question. Fundamentally, we are a timber company. We own 570,000 acres of timberland in central Louisiana, and we're vertically integrated. Certainly the owners of the company had made the decision a number of years ago, but going back to 1923, actually, to own land, grow trees, and to process that into a variety of products, starting with solid sawn lumber, and more recently in 1996, the plant I run to make plywood, built at Greenfield in 1996. We're coming up in March on our 20-year anniversary, which is exciting. Leanne, we're going to have a celebration, minor though it may be. I think that's the fundamental. Is forestry is good business in Louisiana, and growing trees is excellent business. We also make, oriented strand board in our plant in Oakdale, Louisiana, which is, losing my voice, unusual. which is also probably in the top 3 of the largest producers in the United States. We are the largest plywood plant in the United States, and I like to think the safest. We were honored by our industry association, the American Plywood Association, in 2014 as being the safest plywood plant in our division, which when you consider that we worked 1,700,000 man-hours in 2015. That's an accomplishment. Takes each of those 700 people working there, working safely to make that happen. And with that, I'm going to turn this microphone over to somebody else. Any questions? I think it's yours.
Just so if anybody's wondering, CLETA hosts a manufacturers council that meets regularly, I believe quarterly, monthly, and it happened to fall on the same morning, right next door at the chamber's office. So we're kind of poaching them and putting them on the spot, and so we really appreciate that. And our final manufacturer to present this morning will be Mr. Bill Clark. And if you'd like to come up here and just share in a couple of minutes a little bit about your industry and what you plan to make for 100 days and what makes you a maker.
Okay. Morning. My name is Bill Clark. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Eclectic. What that means is I don't do anything except pass guns and ammunition out to people who do the real work. But we manufacture adhesives. We're the leading specialty adhesive manufacturer in this country. That's a little known fact that we kind of keep to ourselves, and our accountants are pretty proud of it. But we own 53% of the specialty adhesive market with a product called E6000. And we also make a product called Shoe Goo that originally started in Los Angeles back in the early 70s, but they found this a better business climate and they came here. So we've got about 100 employees. We did a $6 million expansion that opened up three years ago, I believe, maybe, about 3 years ago. Just asked me when we're planning on expanding again, and I said last week. We're growing at about a 12% clip. We've been doing that for about 4 years. Plan on continuing that. We've got a pretty healthy domestic base, but just hired another international salesperson. So we just kind of hide back there. When the governor's crew came up here about 5 years ago, they had a couple of busloads of folks, and when they realized all the products we make and were tucked in there behind Tioga High School, everybody was a bit shocked. But we put out about 1 million units, sales units a month, and in terms of the number of items we make, that's the equivalent of about between 4 and 6 million pieces a month, if you would, tubes of adhesive or cans of wood putty, or we make two-part epoxies and different things. You see these bar tops that look like glass and hard as rock. We make the products that do that. So we've got a number of things that we do over there, and like I say, we're pretty aggressive in terms of our sales force, and we're having quite a bit of fun. We work hard, but we just kind of sit back there and mind our own business and try to keep growing. So we've worked pretty closely with the local groups. I was a former head of the manufacturing group in here, and we do a lot of things to try to get involved in the community, but also to develop the workforce and to give a double benefit. So that's kind of what we're about. Like I said, he caught me just a little off guard by snagging me out of the meeting next door. So we were listening to the Fort Polk folks, and they do a wonderful work, and basically talking to them about some transition issues and things that we can do for the soldiers in terms of their transition from the service back into the workforce. But we have a lot of opportunities. Like I said, we kind of train from within mostly, but this whole area is growing so rapidly that the analogy I use with everybody is a baseball team. You want to have a really good farm system, and you want to bring people up through the system, but every so often you need a cleanup hitter. And you got to go, usually you got to go steal one somewhere or buy one from somebody else. And so the combination of the two efforts is going to keep us in good stead, and that's really where we find ourselves now. So That's us at 78 RPMs, and for the younger ones, you won't even know what that means. That's a old record, but anyway, so questions? Yes, ma'am. Well, Shoe Goo is another one that we make. Amazing Goop was the original product, and it basically is a different derivative of the E6000, different base, but they're all products that stick multiple substrates together. They'll stick glass to wood or glass to steel or wood or anything together. So we make Famo wood, which is a wood putty that before all the cabinet making went to Indonesia, most of the professional cabinet makers used our product to repair and to build cabinets. We have some new water-based lines that we're introducing under the Allure line, we call it. They're dimensional paints. They remain flexible. If you put them on clothing, they'll stretch without tearing and separating. So we're branching off into water-based product lines as well. So those are just hitting the market this year. So started selling them tail end of last year. But so other questions? We have a website called eclecticproducts.com. Put the C before the L. It's not electric. Eclecticproducts.com. And you'll see kind of the whole spectrum of things that we have out there that are in the marketplace. So, other questions? I was in. Well, we have a wood adhesive as well. If you're sticking wood to wood, because those are two porous substances, quite frankly, you should probably use our water-based products because they penetrate the wood better. E6000 will work, and it'll work very well, but a lot of times when people try and stick wood together, they're looking for a solid bond. The advantage of our other adhesives is they remain flexible. They've got about 400% elasticity. The best local story I ever got from a guy was similar to this lady's comment. I know you said 2 minutes, and I apologize, but I went out to get some stuff for some customers, and she was a local, made jams and stuff. So I went out there, and her husband asked me what I made, and I gave him my business card. He said, "My whole crop duster's stuck together with your stuff." I said, "We don't really warrant it for airplanes," but he said it was the only adhesive that wouldn't snap in two, and that plane could stand the vibration. But anyway, so I need to give this gentleman back the mic. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate, again, I hope that these presenters help you and everybody in the room better appreciate. I know that we all appreciate it, but every single time we hear about the amazing products that come out of this region, the amazing things that are made in this region, it inspires everybody here to continue to do what they do as makers. And so that's really what 100 Days of Making is all about, again, is really to inspire, to bring together the maker community from across central Louisiana to make good stuff. And so I'm going to spend the last few minutes. I know we're running out of time here. We're going to get you out by 9. But I want to spend the next 5 to 10 minutes of this morning really challenging each and every one of you. So, again, 100 Days of Making, it starts on February 1st. So that's a week from next Monday. And you have until then to commit to something that you're going to make, whether for 100 days or at the end of 100 days, something that you can share with the community of Central Louisiana, the maker community especially, but also an opportunity to grow this movement across the region. Also, we need you to commit to being able to share that journey and the process with the community of Central Louisiana. So this isn't easy, this is a challenge, but, you know, and we don't have a bulleted list of instructions either. And so this is up to you to define that process for yourselves. But for the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to challenge each and every one of you to go within your tables. So I know there's a few of you on this side here. We have some extra chairs. Please find an extra chair or two to join a table. And I'm going to challenge at least one person from every table. So at least one table representative, if not as many as you feel necessary. If you have not shared with the folks in here what you're going to make for 100 days, you don't have to, but I'm asking at least one person from each table to be able to present what you're going to make for the 100 days. You have a question? Oh, real quick, sorry. So, real quick. So, we're asking you all to do is to take the next 5 minutes and to share it with your table first, and find one representative from each table to share for 30 seconds. If you want 2 representatives, please do that. Go ahead.
What is the date of the last
100 days after the first. So.
Thank you. May 10th?
Yep. So again, I'll explain a little bit more details after this little challenge, after these discussions. I'll share with you where you can go to learn more information, some more details. All that information's online. But for the next 5 minutes until 8:30 on my watch, which is probably off, 8:37, I want you to work with your group to share with one another what you plan or are thinking of making for the next 100 days, and then to be able to have at least one representative from each table share that with the group. All right, we're going to reconvene. So we're going to go ahead and reconvene. Y'all have your one person who is going to present their idea from every table. So again, you know, so Mr. Gary Perkins is going around the room passing out forms that you can fill out now if you want to make a commitment this morning to 100 days of making. If you don't fill out a paper this morning, you can go to www.sinlaw.org to register online. You can also visit Maker Mornings on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Maker Mornings. You can also, and I'll talk about a little bit more at the end about how to share your progress. So let's go ahead and start with this table up here. Go ahead, in under 30 seconds, each presentation, one person from the table, share what you're going to be making for 100 days.
I'm Jennifer. I'm a computer science professor by day, but writing. Present your idea. So in 100 days.
What is your name, sir?
Joe. Katherine. I write the name Katherine.
And you're not and you're making scale models.
And she's making, during this presentation, she started with nothing, and she's got this swatch. She gets the gold compass.
Oh, a 3D printer? Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so you don't have to sit with the little sticks and put it all together.
I'm going to adventure this summer with glass bead makers, and I want to be able to trade at least 100 beads with other glass bead makers.
All right. How about Wayne's table back there?
Okay, Mr. Joe Mercado is an architect. He had to go, but he is going to be making a scale model of the original City Hall to be printed out on the 3D printer.
Oh, printed out on the 3D printer? That's awesome. Go ahead. This table back there.
My name's Ed. I bought a plasma cutter yesterday, and I'm looking for trying to make 100 art projects over the next 100 days to take the plasma.
Very nice. Very nice. Go ahead.
Hey guys, I'm Mary Ann Way. I'm a photographer, and I have challenged myself because I'm new to Louisiana to meet 100 other makers because I specialize in working with small business owners and entrepreneurs. And so that's what I'm going to be making. It's
Yeah, this is excellent. We are, I hope everybody's excited as we are, at least I am right now, after hearing everything that people are planning to make for 100 days. I just saw Dustin Matthews walk in. Do you know what you're making for 100 days? Don't say drink 100 beers either. Oh, yeah. I like it. It's quite the accomplishment. We'll see. I know what the most difficult challenge is for 100 days. All right. So, again, this is fantastic, and we're so excited about the next 100 days. Again, it starts February 1st. So if you don't have a solid idea yet, or you want to think a little bit more about it, you definitely have some time. You can sign up again and register for free at sinlaw.org. We also will have an event page on facebook.com/makermornings. So if you're interested in just following the tribe, just having an online presence, we are on Facebook at Maker Mornings. We also have a hashtag 100 Days of Sinlaw. 100 Days Sinlaw, right? Hashtag 100 Days Sinlaw. So when you're making what you plan, what your commitment says you're going to make for 100 days, we challenge you to share the journey, the process. You can share that journey and process on Instagram at hashtag 100 Days Sinlaw. You can share that progress on Facebook. And periodically, for the next 100 days, we're going to be reaching out to those of you who have committed to making something for 100 days. We're going to ask you to be able to share what you're making. So we're going to be sending out press releases. We're going to be engaging the media. We're working with some media outlets here in town to showcase the makers of Central Louisiana for the next 100 days and hopefully beyond. All right? And you know, somebody asked me this question this morning, too, of, who is this going to benefit? And it's easy for me to say that it's going to benefit the community of Central Louisiana. It's going to benefit Maker Movement. It's going to put a face to the Maker Movement. But it's also going to benefit you as individual makers. It's going to give you the opportunity to showcase what you make and to celebrate your talents and what makes you a maker. And so at the end, after 100 days, we're going to come back again, and we're going to showcase what we've made for 100 days. Those details are still in the works. Somebody asked me if they can sell what they make. You can sell anything you like. Reclita, you're entrepreneurs. But the most important part is just celebrating yourself as a maker and celebrating this region as a maker community, as a movement. So thank you all this morning. If you have any questions, we'll be around. We have a question right here. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, this is excellent. And so again, you have the platforms. It's up to you to make the most of those platforms that are offered to you as makers. And also another challenge when you leave this morning, recruit other makers. Challenge them to participate in 100 Days of Making. Grow the movement. The movement is you all. It's us. It's grassroots. It's community-based. And so it can't grow unless you make it grow. So again, thank you all for this morning, and go make stuff.